Ryan Blaney had a lot to say following the conclusion of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this afternoon. First off, he put the blame basically on Lady Luck, but he also said that NASCAR probably should have allowed the field to re-rack instead of just allowing Larson to move to the front row, specifically because Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that second groove is basically a death sentence, and there's no way that that he's going to be able to beat anyone who's under there into the corner, and especially coming out of the corner. Before we get to this, though, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. Also, hit that like button so more people see this video. Before we get to what Ryan Blaney had to say, let's take a look at exactly what happened here on the restart. This is over at NASCAR on NBC. You will see Brad Keselowski, who was in the lead. He will duck into pit road, follow the pace car here. Kyle Larson will move into the inside and take that spot as they go to the restart. Let's take a look. So there goes Brad. Larson is up on the inside there. Blaney is the control car. He is the one who's supposed to lead. We see Gilliland gives Larson a push. He then goes. It looks like Larson maybe jumps a split second. I don't really think that's a big deal. Not going to complain about that. And then here they go down into the corner. Larson does a really good job kind of pushing Blaney up the hill and gains that lead position there. And then mayhem breaks out with the huge wreck involving Denny Hamlin, John Hunter Nemechek, Daniel Hemrick, etc., which would bring the caution out right away. But Larson had claimed the lead, and he would now be the control car moving forward in the race. And Blaney really didn't have any chance to win the race after that. And this is what he had to say. Speaking to the media, this is courtesy of Fox NASCAR insider Bob Pockers. Let's take a listen.
I'm ticked off, but I don't know who to be ticked off at. Like, there's no one to be ticked off at. It's just like racing luck. Like, the break that he got and the hardship that we got right there with that happening at that time just killed our race. Like, we put ourselves in the perfect spot to win, and just that weird circumstance, you know, it just benefited him and just killed our race, you know, of any chance for us to win. So that's what I'm upset about. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just Lady Luck, I'm just pissed off at. It sucks, man.
I know it was a
Definitely feel for him there. I think his emotions are justifiable, and I think he's accurate. I don't think there really is anyone to blame unless you want to change the rules that NASCAR has, which he will actually suggest doing here in the next question. Let's take a listen.
frustrating day, but what's it?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I can easily say, like, if the leader runs out, you know, coming to the restart zone, he has so long, wave off the green, re-choose, because you're promoting the third place guy now to where I get screwed. You know, I'm the one getting screwed before, and so the third place guy is just benefiting. The guy behind me is benefiting. I don't know. It's one of those weird, like, you don't see that very often. And at a place like this, like if it was any other place, it's not going to be as bad because the second lane is like you can kind of, all the other places you can maintain. Here it's just a death sentence. You're not maintaining the lead from the top on the front row. So obviously I'm going to say I hope they should re-rack in that situation just to make it fair. Like that's the only way it can be fair, because I had that happen to me at a Mid-Ohio Xfinity race in the rain. I lined up on the front row, but I would have chose different, and it started raining, and the leader pitted coming to the green, and it screwed my row. So I think they can do it a little bit different.
So that is what Ryan Blaney had to say there. I actually kind of agree with him. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, he's just whining, he's just complaining. But I actually think that would be something that NASCAR should look at. I think that if the leader does go to pit as they're coming to the green, I think that might be something that they should think about. Maybe you wave it off instead of giving an advantage to a person who was on that third row. I know that's how they do it in short track racing and everything too. I get that that's kind of the standard, but I'm not opposed to maybe adjusting that rule. I think that might be something that NASCAR should look at moving forward, because I do think that it would be more fair if the person who is in second gets to actually choose to have the preferred line rather than being forced to stay on that line that is no longer the preferred line. It's kind of like, what's the point of the choose cone at that point? It really kind of defeats the purpose of it, right? If you're not actually able to choose that. And then obviously you can put the blame on Brad Keselowski for not going in and pitting earlier and kind of screwing that up for his Ford teammate there. But at the end of the day, I think that's probably a fair suggestion that Blaney gave there. So I think his comments are all pretty justifiable. I don't really have a lot to criticize. I think he's right to say that, hey, that's just kind of how the cards fell, and he dealt with it as best as he could. And Larson just did it felt better for him, and he was able to come home with the win, despite, I think, the controversy there at the end of the race. I think NASCAR most definitely should have thrown that caution as soon as Ryan Preece was spun out, and clearly he was not getting back to the pit road, and they should have thrown that caution, and they should have thrown it before they threw the white flag. They knew exactly what they were doing. They waited for Larson to take the white flag, and then they threw it as soon as he got into 1 and 2. I think that's disgraceful, and we should have seen another overtime restart to see what would have happened, and I think that would have changed the dynamic of the race, because, again, I can go back and point to the fact that they threw the caution when Kyle Busch came out, and Brad Keselowski should have won the race at that point, because I don't think that Blaney really had anything for him, and it didn't look like Larson did either. It looked like they were going to run 1, 2, 3, but they decided to throw that caution out. Keselowski runs out of gas. He's got a pit, so who knows? They were talking about Larson could potentially have run out of gas too on another green-white checkered or an overtime. So that could have been a possibility, and I think that's really kind of where the blame lies on that aspect. But as far as like what happened with Blaney, he played the cards the best he could, and he just kind of didn't roll out for him. But and sometimes that's how it is, and you just got to roll with that. You got to move forward. You got to persevere, and you got to continue to go at it. But I do think that Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson are probably the two top guys going into the playoffs here, going into the Olympic break. I think they're showing that they are the guys to beat. I think they probably have the best crew chiefs. I think they have the best strategy. They clearly understand the paramount that is track position, how paramount track position is. And if you want to win, you got to have that track position. You got to have that strategy to be up there. And these two guys seem to be up there, duking it out week in and week out. And we saw that again this weekend here at the Brickyard. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of what Ryan Blaney had to say? Let me know in the comments below.